Very good afternoon friends and greetings of the festive season. But in this festive season from 10th of October 2024, the GST taxpayers would have to implement certain recommendations of the 54th GST Council meeting and as notified on 8th of October 2024. So first amendment and change from 10th of October 2024 is the implementation of RCM on metal scrap supply by an unregistered supplier to a registered supplier. The metals under chapter 72 to 81 of the customs tariff, that is items of metal scrap like iron, steel, aluminium, nickel, lead, tin, etc. from chapter 72 to 81 would be under reverse charge in case supplied by an unregistered supplier and purchased by a registered supplier. However, few important things in this regard to note is number one, items of scrap like scrap of plastics, asbestos, etc. other than chapter 72 to 81 of the customs tariff, those would not be under RCM. Only the items of metal scrap under 72 to 81 would be under RCM. A self invoice would be required to be raised by the registered recipient of these metal scrap and input tax credit would be required to be taken in case otherwise eligible. So, the first stage generally in metal scrap supply chain is where maximum cash transactions happen because the aggregator who is otherwise registered under GST would go around collecting the metal scrap from the unregistered persons, aggregate and thereafter supply it to another manufacturer or other registered person. Now this first aggregator who is a registered person and who collects the metal scrap from the market would require to pay under RCM. More important, in the self invoice, this person would require to disclose the name and the address and other KYC of the suppliers of the metal scrap who are unregistered. Mind that after these suppliers cross the threshold of 40 lakh or 20 lakh to get registered under GST, then they would be duty bound to take registration and pay GST under forward charge, and RCM would stop to be applicable. Important again to note is that for B2B trade under metal scrap, the 54th GST Council meeting had recommended a 2% TDS. That is not applicable as of now. Going forward, as per recommendations of the GST Council, even this TDS for B2B supply of metal scrap may be applicable as notified and with effect from such notification date going forward. Next important amendment from 10th of October is the applicability of reverse charge on the supply of services of renting of commercial property, that is property other than residential property, from an unregistered landlord to a registered tenant. So what happens is, in case there is a landlord of a commercial property and he or she is unregistered, but you as a tenant are registered, then now from 10th of October you need to pay GST under RCM. So for the rent, generally the rent starts from the 1st of every month. So for October's rent, in case you are taking a commercial property on rent from an unregistered landlord, from October you need to pay GST on RCM, make a self invoice and take input tax credit in case otherwise applicable. Important to note that even in case you are a recipient or a tenant who is registered under GST as a composition dealer, then also this RCM would be applicable and would be a cost. Furthermore, in case you are a non-GST supply registered taxpayer, for example say alcohol or oil, gas, diesel, petrol, etc., such suppliers who are otherwise exempt from GST but they are registered, even they would require to pay RCM on purchase of renting services from unregistered person, and such RCM would be a cost to them going forward. However, in case the landlord crosses the threshold limit of 20 lakh rupees of such service, then RCM would not be applicable and such landlord would be mandatorily required to take registration under GST and charge forward charge mechanism GST in this case. Many times it is seen that landlords break up their bill into two parts. One part for tenancy services or leasing services and the other part would be on infrastructure supply services, etc. Even in case such invoices are received by you as a registered tenant, then GST would be applicable on entire composite supply of services for leasing of commercial property, which is important to note. Next important amendment is with respect to two amnesty schemes which have been announced by 53rd and 54th GST Council meeting. First amnesty scheme is under 128A of the CGST Act, wherein for the first 3 financial years 17-18, 18-19 and 19-20, in case you have an order under section 73 bearing certain orders like refund orders, etc., where tax, interest and penalty has been charged to you, then you can get a waiver of interest and penalty if you pay the tax amount. The question was, what is the last date of this scheme? That has now been notified under notification 21 of 2024 central tax, and in case you have such an order and you wish to go under this amnesty scheme, then you have to pay the tax amount by 31st of March 2025. A bigger question was what in case you have an order under section 74? Are all doors closed for you? We had discussed this in our previous videos on this YouTube channel, wherein we had discussed that even if you have an order under section 74, then you can go for an appeal, and in case the appellate authority remands back and sends back the order, and the adjudication authority under section 75 subsection 2 of the CGST Act decides that section 74, that is fraud, willful misstatement or suppression, is not applicable and converts this order under 74 to an order under section 73, even then this amnesty scheme under 128A would be applicable for you as a taxpayer. The big question was, what in case after 31st of March 2025 this order under section 73 is passed? whether this amnesty scheme would not be applicable for those orders even if otherwise it would be applicable. Now the authorities have confirmed wide notification that even after 31st of March 2025, if you get such an order under section 73 apropos section 75(2), then if you pay the tax amount within 6 months of the date of such order, then this amnesty scheme would be applicable for you. Next amnesty scheme was under section 16(5), wherein in case for the first 4 financial years under GST, that is financial year 17-18 to financial year 2020-21, in case you have got an order under 16(4) for time barring input tax credit, then if you take the input tax credit or you have taken the input tax credit by 30th of November 2021, then such orders would be dropped. Now, wide notification 22 of 2024, they have come out with a detailed procedure. So, in case you have an order under 16(4) or an appellate order in this matter, that is you have an adjudication or appellate order under section 73, 74 or 107 or 108 for matters under 16(4) for time barring period of ITC, then on the GST portal within 6 months, that is by 8th of April 2025, you have to apply for rectification under section 161, and the proper officer would need to pass within 3 months of the application along with annexure A in the notification 22 of 2024 and order in DRC 08 or APL 04 rectifying this order. Now say for example for other parts of this order, you have to go under 128A amnesty scheme, then it is important that after you get this order rectified, you go under 128A. Again, a most important thing to remember is in case you have appealed under the adjudication order under section 16(4), very important, please immediately apply for an early hearing and get the appellate order, because in case you are under appeal, then this relief under 16(5) would not be applicable for you. You must get an appellate order and thereafter go for this notification 22 of 2024 procedure for rectification. There are various other decisions and notification for amendments of rates for all ancillary supplies for transmission and distribution of electricity like shifting of meter, rectification of meter, etc. They would now be exempt and be treated as a composite supply of transmission and distribution of electricity. Research and development services by research and development institutes which are notified under section 35 of the Income Tax Act and who have got a grant from central government, state government or various other agencies which are so notified would be exempt from GST for the R&D services which they have provided. There are other rate amendments like those for snacks which are unfried or uncooked and which go through a process of extrusion. They would be taxable at 18%. seats of motor vehicles would now be taxable at 28%. Helicopter travel on seat sharing basis would be exempt, subject to the fact that the supplier of the services does not take input tax credit on the goods. Certain affiliation services like CBSE, ICSE, etc. provided to government and other such schools would be exempt, and certain learning and development services or skill development services by certain institutions as notified by an amendment to notification 12 of 2017 central tax rate would now be exempt. You can go through the detailed PPT which is appended to this video and in the link below for further understanding of the amendments. We hope through this detailed video we have been able to clarify a lot of these amendments which have been notified on 8th of October 2024. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.